You have to imagine being Russell Crowe here and walking up through that gladiator tunnel that spews or vomits right into the Colosseum, and a crowd of 50 to 75,000 spectators, and the roar of them all cheering for your life and your victory, or most likely for your death, okay? So put yourself in a gladiator's shoes, okay? Walking up this tunnel, your heart's beating, okay? This crammed, narrow space that then opens up into this huge, expansive arena, okay? Maybe filled with wild animals, certainly filled with other gladiators trying to kill you, and all the time, the crowd deafening your ears as you fight for your life. Entering Lane Stadium exactly matches the way ancient gladiators would enter the Colosseum. They would enter from a barracks nearby off-site, and in this case, at Lane, this is the practice field across the street. Now, part of what Lane does remarkably well is effectively manipulate space, and this is one of the keys of good architecture. At Lane Stadium, the players enter through this tunnel that we're in now, and what it does is create a spatial bottleneck that builds momentum, energy, and anticipation. And the players can feel this in their body, and we can feel it now in this space, that sense of building. And what the architecture does is hold in opposition two opposing forces. This contraction, this claustrophobia of the tunnel, and then the expansion or the release of the architectural space when we emerge from the tunnel onto the field. So what this does is create a sense of overwhelming momentum that the crowd builds upon and feeds into. So imagine being in this tunnel, listening to Enter Sandman, the crowd roaring outside. You both feel the sense of expansion, but also shrinking, okay? Let's take a look at what happens when we get on the field and how the space manipulates our experience of the space. When you emerge on field at Lane, you're immediately overwhelmed by the seemingly limitless space around you. And this is in stark contrast to that tiny, shrinking, claustrophobic space of the tunnel. And what the architectural space of the field does to you is flip that experience from the tunnel. So in the tunnel, you were in a tight little cranny of a space, but inside you had these overwhelming feelings of sort of anticipation and swelling momentum. When you get out on the field, it is reversed. The space is swelling and expansive, but instead, you emotionally sort of shrink at the prospect of all of this space with the fans yelling and shouting and what is to come in the game. And this again is part of what Lane effectively does, and this descends from the Colosseum, from that experience of emerging from a subterranean chamber to do battle on the battlefield.